ravages central Oklahoma.
Our door swung right open. We had to pull it back down.
Mighty Minnesota. What does that mean for everyone living downstream?
Once it starts going over 20 feet, we do get nervous.
Water rescues, an inside look at how firefighters train for dangerous operations.
Yes, I gotta go.
Plus what you should do if you encounter a swarm of honeybees and the rare hybrid solar eclipse parts of the world saw while you were sleeping.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
And good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm meteorologist Eileen Whalen. At least 2 people are dead in Oklahoma after 9 tornadoes struck the Sooner State last night. And there are fears the death toll could rise as first responders conduct search and rescue operations. That's the sound of tornado sirens in Purcell, Oklahoma on Wednesday night, and you can see the massive storm hovering over the area. Now, both of the confirmed deaths happened in Cole, about 30 miles south of Oklahoma City, and as photographer Ben Latham from our station there arrived, he saw people digging through the rubble, trying to free those who were trapped. He also reported multiple injuries and power lines down everywhere. Take a look at this Lowe's building and parking lot in Shawnee where they were hit hard. Debris is scattered in the front and on the roof. There's also downed trees, collapsed roofs, and sheds that have just been torn apart. One couple describing the storm as it hit their home.
It got really loud and our door swung right open. We had to pull it back down. And then we just waited around a little bit longer, got up to check and saw it was first, I just saw a light that was broken and thought it wasn't too bad, and then saw the whole roof on our backyard thing was gone, and I knew it was a lot worse.
I would say we got lucky compared to what some of the other people had. I know there's probably a tree somewhere in someone's house.
Oklahoma's Urban Search and Rescue Force is mobilized this morning, searching for people who may still be trapped in the rubble. And we have team coverage in Oklahoma this morning, so let's start with Victor Park, who is in Cole.
Talk about the destruction here. I mean, take a look at this home. It is a 2-story home that has partially collapsed. We are hearing some alarms go off right now. There is some security in front. We also saw someone flying a drone over it, taking a closer look at this damage. Unfortunately, this is not the only home or property dealing with this. As we pan to the right, you will see an outpost, what may have been maybe a garage or some sort, a barn house that also collapsed and is just destroyed.
Let's go ahead and take a long look down Independence, where we're seeing a lot of damage where you can't even get to. Thankfully, it is clear. The cones have blocked off that part of the road, but in this intersection, it's not very clear where you need to drive because still in the middle of the road, they have some of those signs that have fallen down in the wind. We also still see pieces of debris in the middle of the roadway, glass in the roadway.
Well, an earlier round of storms Wednesday hit several communities in Iowa, Illinois, and Wisconsin. Meteorologist Brett Adair was chasing the storm when he ran into heavy rain and baseball-sized hail.
Oh, my windshield just caved in. Look at here. This has got baseball-sized hail. Let the guys know. Oh!
Wow. Now, there was no widespread damage reported from the hail, and Brett and his team are okay, but the threat of severe weather isn't over. The system now shifts south and east today as thunderstorms are expected to develop this afternoon across Missouri to Louisiana. Now, the main threats will be wind damage and large hail, but isolated tornadoes are still possible. Well, April, May, and June are the most active months for tornadoes. So how exactly did these tornadoes form? Meteorologist Evan Chikvara has the answer.
Well, it's the middle of April, the middle of spring, the middle of severe weather season. Today we're talking about tornado formation, and you've probably heard your local meteorologist, if you live in an area prone to severe weather, talk about wind shear. That is the change in direction or wind speed with height. So picture this, you got winds coming in at one direction at the surface, winds aloft going in another direction, another speed, and that causes our rotation or our veering with height. So that gets us the rotation. How do you ask, does this turn to a tornado? That's where instability and energy comes in. So when we talk about our updrafts, that's very important because now that rotation that initially was horizontal in the atmosphere, now that tilts vertical, and thus you'll get your rotation and eventually a tornado. And a lot of us, not a stranger to tornadoes this time of year. Here's a look at the tornado count. This is an average look at tornadoes for the month of April per state. Notice Mississippi and Alabama, that's pretty high. Our severe weather season, our tornado season is typically in April. When you look at the month of May, because the jet stream is shifting further north, we have warmer air. Now we are looking at the traditional tornado alley. Texas all the way up to Nebraska, they see a lot of tornadoes this time of year as well.
And this could be a very active year for flooding along the Mississippi River. All the snow that fell in the upper Midwest is starting to melt and head down the Mississippi River. Now that means the river is rising. As you can see here in Minnesota, some highways are closed and homes are at risk. Downstream communities are preparing and bracing for floods in the coming weeks. Meteorologist Garrett Hyde is along the river banks in Iowa to show us how that region is preparing.
As water levels along the Mississippi River do continue to rise, many river communities, such as the one where I'm at here in Marquette, Iowa, are already taking measures to prepare for what is to come over the next couple of weeks. Wednesday morning, the National Weather Service in La Crosse did issue their latest river forecast outlook for the McGregor area along the Mississippi River. As of Wednesday evening, river levels sitting at around 18.27 feet. That is currently at just minor flood stage, but is forecast to get to just shy of 23 feet, placing river levels about a foot above major flood stage, putting the highest water level in this forecast already just 9 inches short of the second highest peak of all time back in 2001, with the all-time record back in 1965 at 25.38 feet.
Once it starts going over 20 feet and they're predicting higher, we do get nervous because, it's our job to protect the citizens and, the buildings in town. So we take it very seriously.
And Mayor Stevens says that they do have plans at each and every river state. So far, floodgates have already been closed and pumps have been put into their locations. As soon as you hit 20 feet or so, HESCO barriers are beginning to be installed. And by 23 feet, evacuation plans are being drawn up for what's to come next.
The citizens have been through this. They know what's going on. They're more than willing to help with anything we need, and they have patience. Sometimes that's the most important thing.
Well, whether it's flooding, tornadoes, or any other weather, it's the job of the National Weather Service to keep us all informed. Phil DeCastro visited the local office in Green Bay to show us the work that the meteorologists there do to help keep all of us safe.
Every morning, no matter the weather, the meteorologists at the Green Bay National Weather Service have to get one thing done among their other tasks: send up a small cluster of instruments into the atmosphere carried by a weather balloon. These radio sondes help capture crucial data that Green Bay NWS meteorologist Kurt Kotenberg says helps protect the people of Wisconsin.
It's kind of like taking a picture, and then it gets the picture of like the temperature, the humidity, the wind speed, wind direction, and then all of that stuff goes into our computer models. And from there, the computer models can help us forecast if there's going to be severe weather, tornadoes, that type of thing.
And as that weather balloon rises through the atmosphere, it streams back all of the data that it collects to this office. And as a matter of fact, right back here to this computer terminal, it's just one of the things that the National Weather Service uses to observe the atmosphere.
They have instruments like the Doppler radar next to the office and surface observing equipment, but some of the most important observations come from people, weather spotters, who can actually tell the NWS what's happening on the ground.
Our radars can only see so much, but it's your eyes and ears in the field that can literally help us make the decision whether to issue a warning or not issue a warning. And that, helps protect your fellow Wisconsinites.
And protecting the life and property of the American public is a core part of the NWS mission. It's a responsibility that each meteorologist at the dozens of field offices around the country takes on each and every shift.
And a big thank you to all of those meteorologists. Well, a rare hybrid solar eclipse appeared over portions of the southern hemisphere on Thursday, including here in Western Australia. Visitors from across the country and world poured into the town of Exmouth to get a glimpse of this rare solar event when the sun, the earth, and the moon all aligned to give us this awe-inspiring effect. Now, only 7 of these types of eclipses will occur in the 21st century. Next year, large portions of the U.S. will experience a total solar eclipse. I can't wait. Well, coming up on the National Weather Desk, we'll join a water rescue team to see how they train for life-saving water rescues. And it's been a spring full of wild weather. We'll find out how it's impacting honeybee populations next.
Couple showers down towards southern New England throughout the morning on Thursday, and then those clear out. Look at this. Lots of sunshine expected through the afternoon today, and then this continues into Friday as we are going to see mostly sunny skies in most areas, as we could see a few clouds up towards the north, and then our next storm system approaches for the weekend. Temperature-wise, we are going to see temperatures running in the 60s down south, 40s and 50s across the north.
I'm meteorologist Jonathan Myers, and here's a look at the mid-Atlantic region. A refreshing start in the 50s and 60s, but look at this warmth as we head through noontime, 70s and 80s, and lots of 80s overtake the map at 2:30 and 5 p.m. all across the mid-Atlantic. Some of the cooler spots, potentially Cumberland up to Philadelphia, could be in the mid to upper 70s, some of those higher elevations. Otherwise, our latest weather maker stays out to our west. That leaves us in warm southwesterly winds and a nice day on tap. That's the scene here.
I'm meteorologist Vetus Reed. Here's a look at your southeast forecast highs. A hot one as we look at temperatures at 86 Birmingham, 82 Mobile, 86 in Nashville, 89 in Raleigh, about 89 in Tampa. We are going to continue to see plenty of sunshine through the early part of the day on Thursday, but looks like there will be a very strong potential for severe weather over parts of Dallas, stretching up through Memphis as we see a line of thunderstorms. And once again, this is a slight risk category for severe weather as we go through the day on Thursday.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
While some folks are enjoying lovely spring mornings and serene mountain sunsets, snow is still ruling the day in Lewistown, Montana. These springtime photos resemble a winter landscape. The calendar says spring has been here for a while, but the area is under a winter storm warning through Thursday morning.
Listen to Off the Radar, new episodes every Tuesday. Find it wherever you get your podcasts.
Well, different areas around the country are concerned about flooding, and with good reason, if history is an accurate guide. A county in North Carolina is getting an influx of money to help prevent and control floods along the Pigeon River. Charles Perez talked to folks who know firsthand what can happen when that river jumps its banks.
It is one of our most beautiful assets, and it's one of the things that frightens us the most.
Art O'Neill is one of the owners at Bare Waters Brewing, one of many businesses in the area that found themselves underwater during the flood of 2021.
The full basement was submerged completely. So all of our refrigeration, all of our keg storage, all of our production is down below. So all that got completely flooded.
And they weren't alone. The banks of the Pigeon River were overrun, rising up to this pencil mark at the Canton Fire Department, but not as high as two previous floods, which hit record levels. They are disasters the state's Land and Water Fund is hoping to mitigate with a $2 million grant aimed at the heart of the flooding.
We were able to fund it at a level of $2 million, which is the maximum award given under that program this year. But it's also being matched
by state funding targeting the problem. The funds will be focused at providing storage waters for floodwaters in Canton, ensuring clean drinking water, stabilizing the riverbanks, and conserving adjacent farmland. For Art and others like him, it hits right where he and his business live.
This is the center, the epicenter. During the flood, we were in the middle of the circle. Anything we can do to take the threat of flood away will only help us.
The actual implementation of this plan will begin this summer and carry throughout 2024.
Well, when floods do happen, fire department water rescuers are at the ready to prevent loss of life. This need isn't lost on many parts of the country that have experienced floods, including Cedar Rapids, Iowa, nearly 15 years after their devastating floods of 2008. Kason Frakes gets an inside look at how water rescuers at a local fire department make sure their critical life-saving skills stay sharp.
The sweet sound of water. It's amazing how it can go from a scene like this to this. And when rivers are no longer in their banks, it's firefighters like Captain Tina Humston of the North Liberty Fire Department who are ready to help.
So we are set up to provide water rescue. We have a couple different pieces of equipment.
That equipment, essential in giving rescue workers the best chance to help people in a water rescue. From the main boat to the life jackets and wetsuits, everything has a purpose. And while having the equipment is great, the training is key. And that's why the North Liberty Fire Department gets out on the water at least once per year to practice all different types of water rescues.
We have water rescue ropes. We practice actually rope throwing and then putting on the water rescue suits very quickly and then going out into the water and effecting the rescue.
And this training saves lives. According to NOAA, flood-related deaths are only second behind heat-related deaths over the last 30 years. And a piece of equipment helping give firefighters more of an upper hand during flood rescues is an RDC, or Rapid Deployment Craft. This inflatable boat allows rescuers to reach places they normally couldn't with a regular boat during flooding situations. And no matter what, even if you're in the middle of an interview, these men and women will come running or swimming to your rescue.
And spring doesn't only bring floods. You may also be noticing more honeybees buzzing about. The sight can be scary for some, but are they anything to worry about? What should you do if you encounter honeybees? Cheriston Clark got some answers from a beekeeper.
Honeybees alone or in a swarm can be startling, but Brian Fahe with the Charleston Area Beekeepers Association says don't worry.
I realize that it's very unsettling that when bees are swarming and they're flying around, it's very unsettling, but all they're trying to do is trying to locate that queen and trying to locate the new hive.
Honeybees are an important part of our ecosystem, especially when it comes to the food we eat.
Bees are beneficial to humans directly in that they pollinate every third bite of food that we consume. So about 30% of our consumption, our food, is pollinated by bees. And not only European honeybees, which is what we're managing here, but also our native species.
During the spring, you'll start to notice more swarms. So what do you do if you notice one in your backyard?
Sure. Well, it's super easy. Just let them be. You don't have to do anything. As long as they're not infiltrating your home or something like that, just let them be. They'll eventually go off, probably within the next 24 hours, they'll fly off to their new hive. And it'll likely be a crevice in a tree or a box somewhere. Sometimes we find them in utility boxes on the side of the road. Harming the bees harms us, harms the environment. We need bees, obviously, to establish our ecosystem and our biodiversity, and just to make life better and pleasant. Without bees, we wouldn't have flowers, we wouldn't have food. I wouldn't have a hobby.
Well, in Alabama, the strawberry season has officially begun, but the months leading up to the season have been far from easy for many farmers due to several concerning cold snaps. Kyra Purvis spoke to some farmers who say that cold weather has had an impact on their crops.
It's strawberry season in Alabama. Some people in Chilton County say they've been waiting patiently all year just to take one bite.
Very, very good.
It is delicious. Multiple cold snaps seen during the growing season had many farmers concerned about the quality of the strawberries. Colby Jones with Durbin Farms says he did see damage early in the picking season.
The first ones that you had coming in, you could tell it got a little bit of damage from the cold. They might have been a little bit odd-shaped, a little oblong, things like that. Even some of the berries were taking a little bit longer to kind of grow.
Keith Evans with Sugar Hill U-Pick Farms has seen the same.
It got so cold that last time that even with the blankets down, it killed some of our blooms under the blanket.
Just last week, Sugar Hill saw overnight temperatures in the 40s. That slowed the ripening process on the farm's 200,000 plants. But all is not lost. While production is a bit slower than usual, farmers tell me the fruit they are harvesting now is sweet in taste and large in size.
This warm weather is helping them. They're getting a little bit of rain here and there, but the flavors, out of this world right now.
Yum. Well, all those nice clear blue skies are great for the strawberries, but what is it exactly that helps create the beautiful weather needed for spring crops? A lot of it has to do with pressure. Meteorologist Natalie Walters explains.
This beautiful weather is brought to you by the letter H. And by H, I mean high pressure. So let me tell you a little bit about it. An area of high pressure has sinking air, which typically means you're going to see nice sunny skies. And with low pressure, air comes together and rises. That helps cloud cover begin to form and potentially some rain and thunderstorms.
And if you want to see more content like the video Natalie did, you should check us out on social media, where we post all the latest content from our 200 meteorologists across the country. You can also find us on all your favorite platforms, including Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Just search the National Weather Desk.
Well, a very good Thursday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buck-Michael, taking a look at your weather story across the Midwest for the day today. We've got snow to the north and then a lot of rain for the central part of the Midwest as we continue on through the next couple of days here. We're going to be dealing with that rain moving its way out to the east, and snow still there to the far north for tomorrow. By the time that we get to Saturday, we're starting to kick all of this out to the east a little farther and kind of a little cooler for most of us as we head into your weekend.
Good morning, I'm meteorologist Alex Garcia. Here's a look at your regional weather. We're starting off into the 70s and some storms from Oklahoma City, 70s down to the south as well. Really humid. We could see some really big thunderstorms as this cold front begins to push into a lot of Gulf moisture. Watch those showers as they fire up today from South Texas all the way into Northeast Texas. Temperatures are going to be warming into the 80s, and we'll see some 70s and 60s back up to the north. I'm meteorologist Alex Garcia. That's a look at your regional weather.
Well, hi there and good Thursday morning to everybody. I'm meteorologist Shannon O'Donnell. The chilly weather remains firmly entrenched over the Intermountain West, just barely cracking freezing today again near Yellowstone and Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Versus mid-80s. Here comes the heat out of Phoenix, Arizona, 64 in Reno. Latest weather maker, this big system dropping into the Pacific Northwest for more rain in Seattle and Portland later today. And that's the scene from here.
You are watching the National Weather Desk.
Well, have you ever wondered why the sky is blue? It's not actually blue. It just appears that way to our eyes. Macon meteorologist Ryan Mirando explains.
On a bright and sunny day, have you ever looked up into the atmosphere and wondered what gives it that an amazing blue color? Well, it doesn't have to do with the reflection off the ocean. It has to do with the gases and the particles in the atmosphere. So when the sun is high in the sky and emitting its rays onto the earth in many forms of wavelength, when those interact with the higher, lighter gases and particles like hydrogen, those scatter the blues that we see, and that reflects it back into our eyes, giving the sky the nice, beautiful blue glow. Now, when the sun begins to set, instead of interacting with those high light particles high in the atmosphere, it interacts with the lower portions of the atmosphere and the heavier particles like water vapor and carbon dioxide, and those usually reflect the oranges and the reds, giving us our nice glowy, nice sunset. So the next time someone asks you why the sky is blue, you now know why.
And a quick reminder to check out our new podcast, Off the Radar. The premiere episode looks at the role cow burps and other bodily functions have on the environment. You can find Off the Radar wherever you get your podcasts. We'll be right back. Thanks so much for joining us. Tomorrow, we're going to take a look at how robots are being used to clean streams and waterways in Cincinnati. I'm meteorologist Eileen Whalen. Make it a great Thursday, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.